Basically, I've never worked anywhere apart from the sports industry. I started as a 16-year-old and my school got me 2 weeks work experience at a local radio station for a guy called Harry Grayson, who went on to become a BBC presenter. And I think out of charity, at the end of the 2 weeks, he said, you know, you've made coffee for 2 weeks, do you want to go and report on a local cricket match? And I reported on this cricket match that was watched by maybe 10 people. And at the end of it, to my surprise, he says, do you want to do it again next week? And basically I kept going, worked in local radio and then in TV, sort of all the way through from sort of 16 to 25, 26, was there at the start of Sky as one of the first sort of presenter reporters at Sky and the BSB sports channel. Just ended up working in sports journalism, TV, commentary, anything associated with it. And never really even considered having a proper career, because why do something else if you love something so much? I think that's a very interesting question for Eurosport, because I think Eurosport, as a French company that was part of wider French companies, took a lot of people and moved them from department to department. And I think that's something that we've changed since Discovery came in. And I think we've tried to hire more specialists for special departments and try to bring in more international quality into the building. I don't necessarily think there's one right way or the other, and if we can also allow people in their own building to grow within the business, that's a good thing. But certainly in the last year or so, we've brought in a lot more specialist experience into specific areas. This is going to sound like the advice of someone who runs a business, but work for nothing. You know, get through the door, find a way into the system, network like hell, you know, use your advantages that you have, and then more important than anything else, get practical experience. You know, because I think there's no substitute for actually doing the real thing. It's great that there are so many journalism courses out there now, so much broadcast training out there now. And broadcast training is really important. But I think trying to get through the door, use your contacts, get practical experience, there's no substitute for that. And I think if you're good, you'll show you're good. And if you're good and you're working at the lowest rung of an organisation, people will notice you and you will rise. And I think that's the great thing about sports media, is that the business is changing so fast that good people have the chance to rise up through the system very quickly. It's one of the things that really attracts me to the whole business. So grab that experience and make a noise about yourself. I think as someone who grew up in Leeds for most of their life, you know, the one that I was at that was remarkable was Boycott when he scored his 100th 100. And I was on the balcony at Headingley, sort of, and the 4 that he hit to reach his 100 was just below me. And a great story about a character that, you know, has admirers and haters, but he fought his way back. He was written off, he left the England team, he came back and battled through it and celebrated in front of his own fans in an emotional moment that I think every Yorkshireman says they were at, even if they weren't at. And I think, you know, personally, that sort of thing is a really important journey, and this is not an industry where you're always going to have good days. You know, there are clearly things that are going to go wrong in your career, but the experience when you're at your top of the sports world, there's nothing that can challenge it. So I'd choose that one.